Alright, subpart C, authorization requirements for use of the International Transportation Standard and Regulations. 172, authorization, consideration of the international standards regulation, authorization, international standards and regulations, subpart authority with a certain condition, limitation, offering the transportation, commerce with the hazardous material, and according with the international civil aviation organization, technical instruction, safety for the transportation, dangerous goods by air, ICAO, technical instruction, international maritime dangerous code with the IDMG code, transportation candidates, transportation dangerous goods and regulations, transportation Canada, TDGR, and the International Atomic Energy Agency regulations, safety transportation radioactive material IAEA regulations. Limitation of use of the international standard with the regulation has material that is offered for transportation with the transported in accordance with the international standard with the regulation authorized with the paragraphs in section A. And so the subject for the requirements applicable to the international standard requirements must be offered for the transportation transported with the conformance of the applicable standard with the regulation must conform with all the applicable requirements of the subpart. Materials expected with the regulation under initial standards with the regulation. Material designated with the hazard material under the subchapter expected with the subject of the international transportation standard with the required with the authorized with the paragraph A with the section and paragraph 116 with the transportation of dangerous goods and regulations, except for the regulation quantity of the hazard material less than equal to 500 kilograms gross transported by rail must be transported in accordance with applicable requirements of the subchapter. Materials not regulated under the subchapter of the materials not subject to the material and the subject that there must be regulated with the international transportation standard of the regulation authorized. Paragraph A with the section with the author support separate transportation, transported in the United States with the full compliance of the package marked and labeled the class for the described and self-segregated script of the applicable international transportation regulation. Forbidden material that no person may offer the transportation transport has material that is forbidden material or package that is described and designated in section 173.21 subchapter column 3 with the 172.21 table of the chapter. Chapter 9A of the 172.101 table is subchapter offered with the transportation of the rail, passenger for the aircraft, passenger car with the column B9B with the section 172.101 table is subchapter offered with the transportation cargo by cargo and aircraft. Complete information certification exempted with the shipment is in the United States over the Canada with the containing with the 171.12 with each of the person important with the hazard material in the United States must provide with the shipping forward agent with the place of the entry in the United States and complete with the written information required for the subchapter applicable particular with the shipment directly through the forward agent with the place of the must be the initial U.S. carrier with the shipment certification required in 172.204 the subchapter the shipment with the otherwise except with the certification requirement except for the shipment for which certification requirement does not apply with the carrier must not apply except the hazardous material for the transportation unloaded to provide the ship the certification. All shipping paper, information, packaging, marketing required for the according to the subchapter must be in English. Shipping paper for the shall be marked for both English and language other than English in order to duly comply with the subchapter of the regulation with the foreign entity with the permitted under the subchapter. Each person who provides the transportation receipt with the transportation C 174.24, 175.30, 176, 117, 166, 176.24, 177, 817. The shipping paper must retain the shipping of the paper with the electronic image if they're accessible as through the principal base in accordance with the 172.201 with the subchapter. Additional requirements of the use of the international standard regulations. All shipments offered to the transportation or transported to the United States in accordance with the subpart must conform with the following requirements of the subchapter as applicable emergency response information requirement of the subpart G for the part 172 the subchapter. Training requirements in subpart H for the 172 subchapter the functional specific training in the use of the international transportation standard regulation authorized in paragraph A of the section and applicable security requirements in the subpart 1, part 172 for the subchapter, the incident reporting requirements of 171.15, 171.15 with the SPART incident occupying with the jurisdiction of the United States, including board vessel with navigable water for the United States, the board of the aircraft of the United States registry anywhere in the air with the comments for expert. Shipments in general, the packing requirements of 173.20 with the 173.24 with the subchapter they export. The shipments the requirement of the reuse of the recondition of the remanufactured packaging 173.28 with the chapter of the registration requirements in subpart G with the part 107 of this chapter. 171.23 requirements of the specific material packaging and transport with the ICAO technical instruction IMDG and the Transportation Canada Transportation of Dangerous Goods regulations and IAEA regulations. All shipments off of the transportation transport of the United States under the ICAO technical instruction IMG Good Transportation Canada and Transportation Dangerous Goods Relations of IAEA regulations 1C IBR 17.7 must conform with the requirements of this section as applicable conditions requirement of the cylinder except for the provided within paragraph A with the filled zone with the pressure receptacle manufactured under the DOT specification or UN standard requirements with the part 178 with the subchapter DOT exemption with the special permit cylinder with the TCC, TCC, or BTC cylinder authorized under 171.12 with the cylinder U, the fire extinguisher, in conformance with the 173.309A with the subchapter that may not be transported to form within the United States. Cylinders include the UN pressure for the receptacle transported to form of the United States must conform with the applicable requirements of the subchapter unless otherwise except for the subchapter. The cylinder must not be transported unless cylinder is manufactured and inspected with the test in accordance with the DOT specification UN standard prescribed in Part 178 with the subchapter TCC, TCCRC, BTC certification set over the Transportation Canada Transportation Dangerous Good Regulations, except for the cylinder not with the conforming to these requirements must be meet the requirements of paragraph A3, 4, and 5 of this section. Cylinder is equipped with a pressure relief device in accordance with the 173.301 for F of the subchapter forms the applicable requirements for the Part 173 subchapter for the hazardous material involved. The openings and aluminum of the cylinder oxygen service conform with the requirements of this paragraph, except for the cylinders issued by the aircraft of the passenger for the use of the board aircraft in accordance with the applicable airworthiness requirement. The operating with the regulation aluminum DOT specification cylinders must have an opening configuration with a straight parallel threads of the unit end pressure receptacle may have straight parallel tapered threads provided with the UN pressure receptacle mark with a threaded type E 17E 25E 18P 25P with the fitted with the properly marked value. A UN pressure receptacle is marked with the USA as a country of approval of its conformance to the 178.69, the 178.70 with the subchapter of the CAN for Canada. The importation of the cylinders for the discharge of the single airport area. The cylinders manufactured with the other than the DOT specification UN standard in accordance with the Part 178 with the subchapter the TCC, TC, BTC, CCR, CRC transportation specification cylinders set out in the Transportation Canada Transportation Dangerous Goods Regulations and certified as being in conformance with all the transportation regulations in other country may be authorized upon written request and to approval the associated administrator of the transportation Singapore area are provided. The cylinder is transported with the closed rake zone with the cylinder certified but improperly provided with a level of safety levels equivalent to required by the regulation in the subchapter for the compared with the DOT, TC, CTC, BTC, and CRC specification in the UN cylinder. Cylinder is not refilled with the export unless comply with the paragraph of the A4 of the section. Filling with the cylinder's report export for the use of the board of the vessel. Cylinder is not manufactured, inspection, tested, marked in accordance with the Part 178 of the subchapter. Cylinder manufactured to other than 49 UN standard specification with exemption with a special permit other than TC, CTC, BTC, CRC specification may be filled with the gas in the United States offered for the transportation transported export. Alternatively, for the use of the board of vessel and the following conditions are met. Cylinder has been requalified, marked with the month and the year for the requalification according with the subpart C with the Part 180 of the subchapter that has been requalified and authorized by the Associated Administrator and other board requirements. Subchapter the maximum filling density, service pressure, and the pressure relief device for each cylinder conform with the requirements for this part with the gas involved. The building, landing with other shipment of paper to identify the cylinder that includes the following certification of the cylinders. These cylinders have been qualified as required with the field and corn for the DOT requirements of the exported. Cylinders not equipped with the pressure relief device, the DOT specification with the U.S. cylinder manufactured and inspection of the market from the corn with the 178 with the subchapter, otherwise conform with the requirements of the 173 subchapter of the gas involved, except for the cylinders is not equipped with the pressure relief device, may be filled with the gas or offered with for transportation for export if the following conditions are met. Each of the DOT specification cylinders, U.S. pressure receptacle must be plainly durable to mark with the for export only. The most shipping the paper, the most care for the allowing certification the cylinder has. These cylinders have been retested, refilled with accordance with the DOT requirements for the export. The emergency respond with the information provided with the shipment available. The emergency response telephone contact must indicate that the pressure receptacles are not fitted with the pressure relief device and provide with the appropriate guidance for the exposure to fire. Condition and requirement specific in certain materials or aerosol except for the limited quantity of the compressed gas that contain but not more than 4 fluid ounces of the capacity needed for the requirements of 173.306A1 for the subchapter of the proper shipping name of the aerosol of the UN 1950 may be used for a non-refillable receptacle containing gas compressed liquid dissolved under pressure for the sole purpose of which the new export of the non-poisonous other division 6-1 packing the group 3 material the liquid paste power fitted with the self-closing release device 171.8 with addition of the aerosol must be in the metal packaging when the packaging exceeds 7.2 cubic inches. Safety devices for the vehicles, vessels, and the aircraft with airbag, inflators, airbag module, safety belt, trim, pretension, and pyromechanical devices for each of the safety devices. Ship paper description. Must confirm the requirement of the 173-166 subchapter. The chemical oxygen generators. Chemical oxygen must be approved. The clay glass described package of the transportation according with the requirements of the subchapter. Alright, Class 1 explosive material prior to being transported. Class 1 explosive materials must be approved by the Associated Administrator in accordance with 173.56 with the subchapter. Each package containing Class 1 explosive material must conform with the American requirements of 172.320 of the subchapter. As a substance of material with the meaning of the definition of hazardous substance defined in 171.8, must conform with the shipping paper with the requirements of the 172.203 with the subchapter. The marking requirements in 172.324 of the subchapter. The proper shipping name of the identify the hazardous substance and the name of the substance for the must be entered for the parentheses of these associated with the basic description of the mark for the package associated with the proper shipping name and if the hazardous substance meet for the definition hazardous weight of waste for the code. For the example, D0001 may be used to identify the hazardous substance. For the shipping paper, the package is marked with the must identify at least the two hazardous substances with the low reportable quantities when the material conditions are two or more hazardous substances and later, reportable quantities must be either entered for the shipping paper either before or after the basic description of the marked on the package in association with the proper shipping name of each of the hazardous substances listed. Hazardous waste, a material defined with the definition of hazardous waste in 171.8 must conform with the following. The shipping paper, the package for the market may include the word with the waste immediately preceding with the proper shipping name. The shipping paper must be retained by the shipper by each of the carrier for the 3 years after the material is accepted by the initial carrier. See 172.205E5. And 3, a wizard's phase manifesto must be complete within accordance with 172.205, the subchapter of the marine pollutants, except for the marine pollutants 171 transported within accordance with the IMDG code. Marine pollutants transported with the bulk patches must meet the shipping paper with the requirements of 172.203 with the the subchapter packaging part requirements of 172.322 with the subchapter the oxygen pesticides, organic pesticides not identify the technical name, organic pesticide table in 172, 173, 222C with the subchapter must be approved by the Associated Administrator in accordance with 172, 128D of the subchapter. Now in reserved. 10. Poisonous inhalation material. The material poison and by inhalation must conform with the following requirements of the word. Poison inhalation hazard. The toxic inhalation has the word of the zone in Zone B, Zone C, Zone D for the gases, Zone A for the Zone B, the liquids. As appropriate must be entered on the shipping paper that immediately found with the basic shipping description of the poison and toxic with the phrase poison inhalation hazard. The toxic inhalation hazard need not to be repeated if otherwise appears in the shipping description. The material must be repackaged according to the requirements of the subchapter. The package must be marked in accordance with the 172.313 with the subchapter, except for the providing subparagraph B of this paragraph B 10.4 with the package containing with the anhydrous ammonia prepared in accordance with the Transportation Canada Transportation Dangerous Good Regulation. Package must be labeled the placard with the poison inhalation hazard and poison gas as appropriate within accordance with the subpart E within part F of the 172 subchapter. Alright, for a package transported in accordance with the IMDG code and enclosed with the transportation vehicle with the freight with a container labeled the placard conform with the IMDG code, the specification for the Class 2 and 3, 2.3 and 6.1 label or placard may be submitted for the poisonous and poison inhalation hazard labeled the placard appropriate for the transportation vehicle with the freight with the container marked with the identification number of the hazard material with the manner with the specified. In 172.313C with the subchapter the placard is required in subpart F of the subpart 172 subchapter for the package for the transported within accordance with the transportation CAM with the transportation goods and regulations closed with the transportation vehicle freight container labeled the placard form with the transportation dangerous goods specification class 2-3 with the 6.1 with labeled on the placard must be substituted with poisonous gas and poisonous inhalation hazard. The label of the placard appropriate to transportation vehicle for the freight with the container must be marked with the identification number with the hazardous material in the manner specified in 172.313C. Of the subchapter, the placard is required for the subchapter H with the 172 for the subchapter while the transportation of the United States with the transportation vehicle for the freight container may also be placed in accordance with the appropriate transportation goods regulations in addition with the placard with the poisonous gas or poison inhalation hazard. Class 7 radioactive materials, highway route control with the quantity of the 173.403 with the subchapter must be shipped in accordance with the 172.303 D4, D9, 172.507, and 173.2C of the subchapter. For fissile material with a Type D, with a Type B, and Type BM in the packaging, the component authority for the certification necessary to revalidation must be obtained with the appropriate component authorities as specified in 173, 471, 472, 473. For the subchapter, all requirements for the certification revalidations must be met. Type A packages contents limited in accordance with 173, 431 of this chapter, the country of the origin for the shipments of the adopted for the addition with the SSR 6 and IAE regulations referenced in the 171.7. The shipments must conform with the requirements of 173.448 with the applicable the definition for the radioactive material 173.403 with the subchapter must be applied with the radioactive material transported under the provision of the support, except for the limited quantity shipment that must conform with this requirement of 172.204C4 with the subchapter except for the package for the radioactive material instrument with the articles containing natural uranium of the radium must conform with the requirements of 173.421, 424, and 426 for the subchapter appropriate. Packages containing fissile materials must conform with the requirements in 173, 430, 453, otherwise except the requirements of the subpart 1 of the part 173 fissile material. Self-reactive materials. Self-reactive materials must identify with the technical name of the self-reactive material table of 173 and 224B. One of the subchapter must be approved by the associate administrator in accordance with the 173 to 124A2 and 3 of the subchapter. 171.24 additional requirements for the use of the ICAO with technical instruction hazard material that is offered with the transportation transport of the United States with the aircraft with the motor vehicle with the rail either by the before and after being transported with the aircraft in accordance with the ICAO with the technical instructions for the 171.7 authorized in paragraph A with the 171.22 with the must conform with the requirements of the 171.22 is applicable to the section. Any person who offered the transportation of the transport with the hazardous material in accordance with the ICAO with technical instruction must comply with the following additional conditions requirements. All applicable requirements in the Part 171, 175 of this subchapter, also with the Title 49, 121, 135, 124, 121, 401, 121, 432, 43A, 135, 2, 323, 135, 327, 135, 3333. Are the quantity limits prescribed by the ICAO technical instruction for the transportation passenger for the carrying of the aircraft is applicable. The code additions required by the United States variation with the specific ICAO with the technical instruction on the highway transportation for the transportation on the highway prior to the or after transportation by aircraft. The shipment must conform with the applicable requirements of Part 177 with the subpart chapter of the motor vehicle must be placarded in accordance with the subpart F of the Part 172 with the subchapter. Condition requirements and specifications certain material hazardous material offered with the transportation of the transported in accordance with the ICAO technical instructions must condition with the following specification conditions requirements as applicable to batteries, non-spillable wet electrode storage batteries, non-subpill wet electric storage batteries are not subject to the requirements over the subchapter provided. Batteries meet the conditions specified in Special Provision 67 of the ICAO technical instruction battery with the outer package with any with the overpack and any plainly durably marked non-slippable or non-slippable battery. The batteries or battery assemblies are offered with the transportation transported in a manner that prevents short-circuiting forced discharge, including but not limited to protection with exposed terminals. Lithium metal cell of the battery. Lithium metal cell batteries are forbidden with the transportation aboard passenger carrying aircraft with outside each of the package with the lithium metal cell with lithium metal batteries. UN 3090 transportation according with the packing instruction 968 section 2 of the mark with the primary lithium batteries forbidden with the transportation aboard passenger aircraft. Lithium metal batteries forbidden with the transportation aboard passenger aircraft are labeled with the cargo aircraft only labeled specified in the statute 172.448 with the chapter. Low production runs and prototype lithium cell battery. The production runs consistently no more than 100 lithium cell batteries per year. Prototype lithium cells or batteries include cells or batteries packed contained into the equipment of the motor vehicle, not in types proven with the meeting of the requirements of Section 38.3 of the UN manual testing criteria. 171.7 with the subchapter that must be approved by the associated administrator prior to the transportation aboard aircraft. That package containing the oxygen compressed any of the following oxides and gas must be packaged and required. Part 173, 178 with the subchapter carbon dioxide, oxygen mixtures, compressed gas as non-oxidizing NOS liquid gases, oxygen, NOS nitrogen trifluoride, nitrogen oxide. Art 171 additional requirements for the U.S. IMDG. Hazardous material may be the offer of the transportation transported to the United States by the vessel in lower care of the bearer in accordance with the IMDG code. is authorized in 171.22, provided all part of the movement is in by the vessel. Such shipment must be conformed with the requirements of the 171.22 as applicable to them in this section. Any person who offered the transportation or transportation hazardous material in accordance with the IMDG code must conform with the following additional conditions and requirements unless it is specified otherwise in the subchapter. The shipment must conform with the requirements of Part 176 of the subchapter of the transportation by the railway, highway transport. Subsequent to the transportation vessel and shipment must conform with the applicable requirements of Part 174, 177. The respect for the subchapter in the motor vehicle rail car must be placed and placarded in accordance with subpart F of the Part 172, subchapter when the hazardous material regulated with the subchapter of the transportation highway, the transportation motor vehicle on the public highway, railway, under the provisions of Part C with the Part 171 segregation requirement of the Part 7 of the subchapter 72 IMDG code are authorized for the transportation by the vessel with the storage area segregation requirements of Part 171 IMDG code must be submitted with the substitute with the storage and segregation requirements of Part 176 for the subchapter. Outside of each of the package containing lithium metal cell batteries and UN 3090 for the transportation, Corn Special Provision 188 IMGG code marked for the primary lithium batteries forbidden with the transportation aboard passenger aircraft, lithium batteries forbidden with the transportation aboard passenger aircraft, or labeled with cargo aircraft only. Labels specified in 172.448 with the subchapter. The provision of paragraph do not apply with the packages that contain less than 11 pounds net weight, less lithium metal cell batteries that are packed with and containing the equipment. Materials co-signed with the UN 3166 and UN 3171. Engines, internal combustion vehicles, etc. Batteries, powered equipment may be pre-accordance with the IMDG with the code of the subchapter. The condition requirements for the bulk packaging, except for the IBC with the UN portable tanks used for the transportation liquids to solid of the bulk which packaging must conform with the requirements of the subchapter additional with the following requirements applying. The UN portable tanks must conform with the requirements of the special provision, the TP 3738 and the 44 with the 45 when the applicable bulk. Special provisions signed with the hazardous material with the hazardous materials tabled in 172 101 subchapter IMO tape 5 with the portable tanks must be conformed to the specification 51 with the UN port tank was officially authorized in subchapter the approval of the associated administrator. Except for the specified in subchapter part of the material subpoison with the toxic inhalation T codes, the specified in column 13 with the dangerous code, good list of the IMDG code may be applied with the transportation of the materials in IMO and DOT specification 51 portable tanks. Portable tanks are authorized in accordance with the requirements of this subchapter. No person may offer the IM or UN portable tank containing liquid hazardous material for Class 3, PG1, 2, and 3 with a flash point less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, Division 5-1, PG1, B2, BG2, and Division 6-1, PG1, PG2, unloading while it remains in the transportation vehicle, the motor powder until attached unless they conform to the requirements of 177-834 of the subchart. Use the IMDG code for the port over the areas except for the Division 112, 11112, and Class 7 of the materials has material being within port with the exporter through the United States passing through the United States and port for the beginning of the ship between the location and outside of the United States may be offered and except for the transportation transport with the motor vehicle within a single airport, including continuous harbors when package marked and class labeled and circulated in accordance with the MIDG code. Offering acceptance in accordance with the requirements of Part C and F of the Part 172 subpart, pretending the shipping pay with the placarding otherwise conform with the applicable requirements of 176 for the subchapter. The requirements of 172.201D with the subchapter of the emergency telephone number does not apply with the shipment of the made in accordance with the IMDG code of the hazardous material is not offloaded with the vessel or is offloaded between the off vessels, open ocean vessels, and U.S. port facility without being transported by public highway. 171.26 additional requirements for the use of the IAE regulations Class 7 radioactive material with the importation of the exported from the United States for the porting, passing through the United States in course of being shipped between places outside of the United States may be offered the transportation transport in accordance with the IAEA regulations and see what they authorized in paragraph A of the provided with requirements and as applicable or met. Alright, 172 hazardous material table specification provisions, hazardous communication, emergency response and information. Training requirements and securement requirement plans.